Welcome back to another episode of Criminal Justice Corner. I am your host, Dr. Jennifer Matthews. Here at Criminal Justice Corner, we talk about the real details behind the story and we give you actionable advice just in case you find yourself in the same situation you could potentially get yourself out of the circumstances. Today, I have with me a very special guest, Miss C. Jones. I want to welcome Miss C. Jones to me on this episode. Hi, C.
Thank you, Dr. Jennifer, for inviting me. Hi, I am C. Jones, aka the Aquarian Chancellor from the Girl Get Up podcast. And over there, we just like to do a little inspirational, motivational things that help the listening audience believe in their infinite possibilities. Get out your comfort zone and do the things that you never thought possible.
I love that. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this episode. It is going to be a powerful discussion about Kendrick Johnson, a 17-year-old high school student out of Lowndes High School. And the Lowndes High School is in Valdosta, Georgia. Now, I know you're familiar with this case. You were the one who actually brought me onto this case because I was not privy to this case prior to. I am appreciative of you for bringing this case to my attention because this is a tragic story. I have to admit, I was outraged once I got to reading the history of this case. So I just want to thank you for that, first of all. And let's just do a little backstory and then we'll, bring it forward.
Yeah.
So we know that Kendrick went to school. He went to school one day. The particular day was January 10th. So he went to school, normal high school student, minding his own business, like, us parents send our kids to school every day. And this particular day, Kendrick did not come home from school.
Mm-hmm.
So his parents report him missing, as they should, because he goes to school and he doesn't come home. So as parents, we're like, where's my child? I sent him to school. He should be home by now. It's late and I don't find my child at home. I'm going to report him missing. So his mother, Jackie Johnson, a remarkable woman, reports him missing, but she does not get support from police. She gets sarcasm from police. They tell her, oh, don't be alarmed. He's probably out with, quote unquote, some fast tail girl. Okay. So right there, I'm taken aback by that response because I would be appalled. I'm reporting my son missing and you give me that response. Now I'm not happy about that. And I can imagine Miss Jackie wasn't either. And she's saying, my son is a good student. It's a school night. He knows I expect him home. So already that's putting her in, to make her feel some kind of way that the police are not taking her report seriously. Okay. So he does not come home that night, but instead the next day, January 11th, 2013, school starts and a class of students find Kendrick Johnson deceased in the school gym, rolled up in a gym mat that is propped up upright, so standing vertical in the gym. He is shoeless. Yeah. His shoes are stuffed next to him, and the gym mat is bloody, and a coach pulls the gym mat down and unrolls him out of this mat. And of course they call, the like paramedics, they call his mom, they let everybody know. And he is pronounced deceased. And they tell the mother that after an autopsy, they tell the mother he's died by positional asphyxia. As we know, Positional asphyxia is the inability to breathe due to body position or posture. And it took 9 years, but they ruled his death an accident. See, make it make sense. Help me. Help me see.
You can't make that make sense. So now, hold on, wait a minute. Are you saying that even now they still saying that it's an accident?
To this very day, Kendrick Johnson's death is ruled an accident.
I don't understand how you just accidentally roll yourself up in the gym mat and then stuff your shoes behind you. I don't, that ain't no accident.
I have seen the crime scene photos.
Yeah.
That gym mat was tightly wound.
Mm-hmm.
How do you tightly wind yourself in a gym mat? I'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. This is Georgia. This is Valdosta, Georgia. You are telling me that it is possible for a high school student to tightly wind himself in and let's be clear, these gym mats weigh 700 pounds.
Yeah, they're not easy. Those are the same gym mats that you see in gymnastics and any tumbling class that you will see. It would take more than one person just to roll their mat up with nobody in it. Now imagine what it would take to add. How much did Kendrick Johnson weigh at the time?
I am not 100%
put it upright. No,
I'm not 100% certain, but if I'm eyeballing it with my untrained medical eye, approximately 125, give or take.
Impossible.
You're telling me this young child, 17-year-old boy, can tightly wind himself in a 700-pound mat alone. And keep in mind, he's bloody.
Mm-hmm.
He's bloody. See, he's bloody. How did that happen?
So one of the
things,
it's an
accident. It's an accident. See, how do you bloody yourself accidentally?
It's impossible. One of the things that really drew my attention about this case is because my oldest at the time was in high school. My oldest is 23. He'll be 24 this year. And it hit me so hard because I can only imagine my son going to school and to school where he's supposed to be watched. He's supposed safe.
Come on now.
That's the expectation.
That is the expectation.
That's the expectation. And for me to know he went to school but not come home, and that's so out of the ordinary. And it's so many things that our children have to be cautious of. But to have an experience like that happen at a high school, I'm like, oh my God, no.
Where what else?
Where was the staff?
Right. And not only that, they had over, I want to say, approximately 300 cameras.
Yes.
And this incident was not caught on video, caught on tape.
So okay. So in my studies of the case,
I
feel, this is my personal opinion. I'll say allegedly because I wasn't there. But the film that they did have of him going into the gym and never coming out of, I personally feel that there was some doctoring going on of the cameras. It had to be. Even at any gym, there's cameras. Why is it that they see you going in, but they don't ever see you coming out?
Well, we know why he didn't come out, because he was stuffed in a gym mat. That's why. He was murdered. This young boy was murdered. I don't care what none of these people are saying. He was murdered. That is not an accident. No, he didn't come back out because he was murdered. And then, you know what else? My question is this. We see, like you said, we see him walk in. Who else walked in?
Exactly. Who was there? Who was already there? who was already
Who
in
was
there.
already in there? And where, okay, so who did we interview? Where's those interviews of those people who was already in there? Who else walked in during this time period? Where's those interviews? Because when I was doing my research, they said they interviewed those people, but the results of those interviews was never revealed. What kind of interviewing was going on? What questions were asked of these children, adults? What questions were being asked? Because they never gave, it was so vague, the outcomes of these cases, of the interviews. What happened? Why are we so sketchy on the details?
So one of the things that stood out to me was that there was a story very early on, allegedly, that him and there was some type of rivalry on this, and he played sports.
Yes,
and
he did.
It was it football? I don't remember because it's been so
it was
long.
football. I believe so, because he wanted to be in the NFL. He was telling his family.
Yeah. So he had got into some type of scuffle or something like that with a teammate.
Okay.
That the teammate and the brother of that particular teammate, and it carried on. It carried over. So he had allegedly, they had a little tiff going on, and from my understanding, from what I was able to pick up, the father of those boys was a former FBI agent. Allegedly, that's what I picked up from the story.
So what you're saying is, allegedly, these two boys were able to possibly get away with this murder because this alleged conspiracy was able to be swept under the rug.
From my understanding, there was a fight and it got out of hand. And as people do, people panic.
Yes.
People panic.
They're high schoolers.
Yeah. And allegedly called the dad, told the dad what was going on. And this is just bits and pieces of what I was able to hear over the years of how the case unfolded. And so allegedly it was advised that they, do something else other than tell what was going on. So it was a fight that got out of hand.
Now, I do know that the Johnson family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against these two boys. I do know that.
Yes.
So they believe that these two boys were responsible for the death of Kendrick Johnson, if nothing else. Now, they did not win their lawsuit. They didn't win their lawsuit, but the fact that they brought the lawsuit, to me, lets me know that they believe that these two boys are responsible. Whether it's true or not, whether there's evidence or not, the family believes that. And for me, that's powerful.
It is. And you know what? And I think that a lot of like we're talking about the video footage, a lot of the pushback that the family received, just trying to get information could potentially have bought the perpetrators time to cover it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's kind of like a stolen tactic.
Yes. And then I do know that, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to, maybe we about to say the same thing. So go ahead.
I was going to say 2 years after the death of Kendrick, the family was able to get a second autopsy ordered for him. And the results of that autopsy showed that he died of blunt force trauma to the neck. Mm-hmm. So my question is this. The first autopsy said positional asphyxia. So why is the second autopsy showing something completely different?
Mm-hmm. Can we talk about the first autopsy?
You said, go ahead. Let's talk about the first autopsy.
About the missing organs from his body. Because that was a big thing. That was the thing that drew everybody's attention.
But I was just about to say, was that the first autopsy or the second one? So the first autopsy, his organs were missing?
Yes. His organs were missing. His organs, anything that could have told the story of what happened was missing. Yes. I think that right there was the most upsetting, and it was the spit in the face of the family, if you ask me.
Now, who stole the organs?
Who can and get away with it?
An FBI agent?
Yeah, well, I
This
think
is a
that was
huge
the
thing.
most.
This is
Yeah,
a
it
huge
was.
thing.
It was. It
This is
was
huge.
very huge.
This is
And I
huge. And
think when stuff like this happens to our kids,
yeah.
because I was going to ask you, do you think that the media coverage of this case was kind of stalled the results a little bit? Because when crimes like this happen to our kids,
Mm-hmm.
even the public, they get involved because they want to know. So you have our investigators like you and I, like just following the case, and we're
Right.
talking about it on social media, and we're tweeting about it, and we're doing Instagram posts about it and what we think could have happened.
Right.
Do you think that could have stalled the outcome of the case being solved sooner?
No. I don't think that at all,
Okay.
because social media is separate from let's say a detective and investigator's investigation. Just
Mm-hmm.
because people like us are talking about it, we are not interfering with their investigation.
Mm-hmm.
We're not standing in their way of getting answers and facts. We're not at the high school. We're not saying don't come up here. We're not saying don't talk to this kid, don't talk to that kid. We're not taking the organs. So no,
Right. Okay.
no,
Yeah.
no,
And
ma'am.
yeah, it was everywhere. It was literally everywhere for a couple of years because people wanted to know. It's
Yeah, and
impossible.
now it's 2024 and we still don't know.
Hmm.
We
Well, you
still
know
don't.
what? Over the years, I think that as more information started to come out, the hush, like it's like it never happened because nobody's talking about it no more. Yeah,
Well, it's a good thing we talking about it, because
that's
I want
right.
to know. And his parents, his family, they deserve answers.
Yeah.
They deserve answers. And another thing with the second autopsy, what stood out to me was, if there was blunt force trauma found in the second autopsy, why wasn't it found in the first? That's my question. Why? And I remember they did an interview of the sheriff, the current sheriff
Hmm.
in Georgia, who reopened the case, and he was saying when they found Kendrick that there was no bruising on him. What are you saying, sir? The mat was bloody. Where does blood come from? Bruising. What is he saying? What is he saying? And then you know what else I saw? Jackie Johnson, his
Hmm.
mom, has a TikTok page. I
Oh, I didn't know.
scoured. Yeah, she has a TikTok page. I scoured her TikTok page. That's why I said she is such a brave woman. She is so
Hmm.
strong, advocating for her son.
Yeah.
When I scoured her TikTok page, she had a before picture of her son when she sent him to school. Not necessarily that day, but a before picture of her son, and she had an after picture of when they unrolled him out of that gym mat.
Yeah.
You cannot on no day tell me that he did not have bruising.
Yeah, you can tell he was beat up. You can tell he was
His
beat up.
He did not even look like himself.
No, he didn't.
A
And
body, a body does not deteriorate that fast.
again, that's the when you see stuff like that, when you see that and you hear the story and you're like, this ain't right. Nothing will sit right in your spirit. If you hear that story and you see the photos, you're like, oh nah, it's no way possible. None.
His after photo, I literally had to go back and forth to make sure that I was seeing what I was seeing.
Yeah.
I was like, is this what I'm seeing?
No
Is
way.
this what I'm seeing?
Mm.
I was just taken aback. I was like, wait, before and after what? Because I wasn't sure what I was seeing.
Right. It
She is
kind
so
of
brave.
reminded me of the Emmett Till photo.
Yes. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, yeah. That's you hit the nail on the head with that one because and then it's such a massive cover up.
Yeah.
And so to me, what it's saying is these people who are covering it up feel they are making it seem like his life did not matter, but the people
Mm-hmm.
that they are protecting, they're making it seem like their lives do matter. And I think that's a travesty of justice because Kendrick Johnson's life did matter, and the people
Mm-hmm.
who are responsible for killing him should be held responsible.
Yeah. Yeah. I think um they knew, everybody knew. And it's so let's talk about the social media thing because I do remember, and correct me or let me know if you heard the same thing when
Okay.
when the family was actually saying they were receiving messages from the kids who knew what happened, who have heard what happened, and they were also telling them little things through social media that helped them come to the conclusion of the two young
Of
guys.
those two boys. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
You
there
got
was a
that part right.
long-standing tiff between the two. It's and you know what? And it goes to the note of competition, right? When
Yes.
you can have healthy competition,
Yes.
when it gets to the point where it's unhealthy, is when you develop a hate toward that person, and you guys are
Yes.
fighting teammates because someone is getting more recognition on the team than you. They say that depend certain people are good at certain sports,
Yes.
well, or get more score, whatever the case may be. I don't think that
Yeah.
it should have turned into this type of rivalry.
Never. Because again, and this is always going to be my thing, was it worth it? Was it worth it? This young child has lost his life
Yeah,
over what? A rivalry? That doesn't warrant that. That's frivolous.
I
That
think
doesn't make
that
any sense.
the lives of the people involved, whether they were the perpetrators or not, have been changed heavily by this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then there let's just say the perpetrators, they're
Mm-hmm.
covered up for these perpetrators. What good are they doing them? What lesson are they teaching them? What message are they sending to them that they can kill people and get away with it? That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me. Right? I mean, why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want them to stand accountable for what they've done to another? Make it make sense. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, what I would say to that is we don't know. We don't know. We can only look at something and speculate. And even the things that we think that we know, we really
Hmm.
don't know. Is what happened. We just want to know what happened. And I think
Right.
more of the slap in the face was the cover up, more so the actual what happened. If you just tell what happened,
Right.
it's not as of a deeper cut than the whole lie around it.
Exactly. And then why did so okay, so let's back it up just a bit. Before the cover up was even there,
Mm-hmm.
why did the police botch the investigation so bad? Like Jackie said, they never even locked down the school, like the crime scene, to the point where
Mm-hmm.
she said kids were still walking past her crying. Why is that?
So, what I would say to that, and I'm speculating here, is that when stuff like that happens, especially at a high school, that's totally unexpected. Totally who's prepared for that? What principal is prepared for that?
But the police are. The police know what to do. The principal might not be, but you called the police. So the police know to come in and rope off a crime scene. That's police work 101.
Yeah, it's kind of like it didn't care. Like you already had in your mind that you knew that you were going. It's like they've been tipped off to, you know what I'm saying? It's like they've been They knew without saying that they knew that something was going on. You see what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but you're trying to tell me that the conspiracy began at the phone call?
Listen, it would make sense.
It had to, because the conspiracy truly was the cover up, I should say. The cover up truly began initially.
Yeah, when that phone call was made.
It began when he was found.
Yeah.
That's when it began. It began when he was found. The mom came and she's seeing all of this firsthand. She's seeing the police not do their job properly. Because
Right.
that's why she filed her Jackie and the family filed a lawsuit against them. Because
Yeah.
she knew they didn't do the job properly.
Yeah.
So it's like, give me a break.
Yeah. Because, well, you know what? My thing is, when them boys made the phone call to the dad, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to
That would
call
have been the
somebody.
night before. But that would have been the night before. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been the night before. Yes.
Yes. You have to call somebody. Something like that happens,
or go home. Remember, they would have had to go home because they went home that night. Kendrick, the one that didn't go home.
Yeah.
Right. And then, because it was like baffling me when I was doing research, I'm just like, okay, everybody wants to say it's a quote unquote accident. What is the accident? So the quote unquote authorities want to say that students allegedly hide, quote unquote, their expensive shoes in these 700-pound gym mats. And allegedly, that's what Kendrick did on this day. And he threw his shoes down. And then when he went back to retrieve his shoes, he fell down on top of the shoes and suffocated. That's what they're alleging. But his mom is like, wait a minute, the gym mat circle is 14 inches wide, and his shoulders, I believe she said, was like 17 inches wide. So she was like, that math ain't mathing. And I'm with her. That math don't math.
No, that math definitely ain't mathing.
Not only that, if you think about a cylinder, the shape of that, let's say that it's open on both ends. Where's the suffocation? Where?
And that's what I mean when I say about the lie around it. It's one thing to tell the truth, but when you create this whole circus around it where people who are intentionally trying to solve it and get to the bottom of it, it's like you leading them on a wild goose chase when you could just told the truth. It wasn't intentional. It could have been a fit of anger. It could have been a fit of rage during the fight. Somebody could have got hurt, hit, fell back, and then, you know what I'm saying, but we would never know because of the circus that was around it with the lies.
I think at the very least, his family deserves answers, and it's answers that they are not receiving 11 years after the fact. And I just think that's terrible. What are your thoughts on that? Them not receiving the answers.
It doesn't even seem like it's been 11 years. It doesn't even seem like it. But with them not, and I think, again, that's the most hurtful part of it, because it was the fact that it happened, but even more so, I think the salt in the wound was the circus around it, the lies, the intentional leading you in the wrong direction. Going to the police station to see the video of who went in and who went out, and you see them going in, but you don't see them coming out. Clearly doctored films. So I think that it was the rodeo around it that just added the salt to the wound.
Right. And recently, so this would be, I would say, in the past 3 to 6 months, Jackie has documented on her TikTok that people have been going to his grave and desecrating it. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. So this this fight is not over.
No, it's not.
This
No, it's not.
this is not over, and that's why when you brought this to my attention, I was like, this must be done. I have to shed light on this, just if nothing else, to keep his name in the media so that people know that his life matters.
Yeah.
Say his name, Kendrick Johnson. Let people know that his case to me is still unsolved because it was a murder and it's not an accident.
Yes.
There's a huge cover-up going on in Valdosta, Georgia regarding this.
Do you think that skin color has something to do with the
100%?
Yeah.
100%. To me, there's no other explanation for it.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely no other explanation for it, because literally, when I watched the interview that was done with the sheriff, I believe his name was Ashley, Sheriff Ashley. I could be wrong, but I believe that was his name. Nothing he said made sense.
Make it make sense.
What I said. Look, I said what I said. Nothing that man said made sense to me. Nothing made sense. I'm like, what are you talking about, sir? It did not make sense. Nothing. He wanted to say he did his own independent review, and okay, I get that, but nothing in this case says accident.
None. There's no way.
How? Explain to me, how do you, even if you're going off of the first autopsy, how do you positionally asphyxiate yourself? How do you do that? Let's say you're going off of the second autopsy. How do you blunt force trauma yourself?
I think that when we talked about accountability in law enforcement, I think this is a perfect case to delve into the accountability of the officers and investigators who handled the crime. Let's look deeper into them. What do they have to lose by telling the truth?
Like you said, this conspiracy cover up goes deeper than we know, obviously, because I don't even have words for it, honestly. I don't even have words.
And you know why? Because nothing about it makes sense. That's the reason why I'm saying, like, the circus around it and so many different tall tales that have to be told just to keep the lie up, because there's no way. It's scientifically, mathematically, chemically impossible. Any math and science thing you can think of, impossible for him to have done that to himself at all. I mean, there's nothing else to really talk about. You can't. It's impossible.
And you're keeping it going for 11 years.
A stalling tactic.
You're keeping it going. Like, you're that serious. Okay. We gonna wrap this up now. What tips would you give our listeners? Because this case is super unique, because it's a crime, but it's a conspiracy. It's a cover up. It's outrageous. So it's not every day that our listeners are faced with this type of corruption. So what actionable advice could we give someone who might be faced with corruption, who might be faced with pushback from the police? What type of advice could we give them if they find themselves at a crossroads based on just the color of their skin?
Well, to take the focus off, because that there are going to be areas and subcultures and of pockets of our community that still judge people about skin color. More importantly, I think that the focus should be on us individually. I liked the fact, and I don't, maybe like would be an inappropriate word, but it would encourage the youth to talk about what's going on at school, talk about it. If you're being bullied, if you're fighting, if you're being pushed around, talk about it with your parents. Let people know what's going on. Our voice is so powerful,
It
because
is.
if something like this happens again, everybody would know, oh yeah, well, he got in a fight with such and such the other day.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to him.
Yeah.
Let's go see what he knows. And with teenagers, it could be a very difficult. I have teenagers, so I know. You're talking about bullying, it's not the most comfortable topic to talk about.
True. True.
But speaking up about it, that's why it's so important. Let people know what's going on. Another tip that I would encourage is, we have these cell phones. With
Yes.
your location, share your location. And
Yeah.
I might be hypocritical on that, because sometimes, like, my daughter's at the mall, I know where she is. But we want to know where you going. I tell my son all the time, 17 years old, hey, I see you going over such and such house, but if you leave from there, let me know where you going and who you
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
so that if something happens, I know where to go. So it's just
Absolutely.
communication. We have to keep those lines of communication open, because at any point in time, any one of us can walk outside and be a victim of any a crime happens to the best of us.
Yes. I say that all the time.
Intentionally and unintentionally. So
Absolutely.
communication, please talk about what's going on in your life. If you're experiencing bullying, stalking, of the domestic violence, any of these major issues that hits families and communities really hard, that's the reason why your voice is so important. I cannot stress it enough.
I love those tips. I would just want to add, for the family, not necessarily Kendrick's family, but a family, if they are faced with opposition from the police. I have
Mm,
seen families have success when they hire a private investigator. The private
mm,
investigators are more likely to gather information and get into rooms, get into different areas where the family is receiving pushback.
mm-hmm,
So I would just say private investigators are sometimes able to tear down that red tape
mm-hmm.
and break down those barriers when the family is seeing that they're not getting the results that they want.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, we know that there was a alleged cover up. So, and then we know that there was this possible FBI agent involved. When it comes to the private investigator, they know people. They
Mhm.
have friends in high places. They have friends that might be able to be on that same level, who are able to talk that talk, who might be able to infiltrate that,
Good
level
old
of
boy network.
conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've seen in other cases, I think Kendrick's family is doing a phenomenal job. I'm not speaking about them at all. I'm saying in other cases, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen families have a lot of success with private investigators.
Yeah.
So if another family is having this, if it's the beginning of their situation, unfortunately, or they find themselves going into this type of thing, I would say try a private investigator. They might be able to, push the case along a little bit further. But
Yeah.
Kendrick's family is relentless. I applaud them. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I think they have been pulling out all the stops for him. And I think they should be applauded for their efforts.
Yeah. It's not
I
an easy
think.
thing.
No, heck, oh my gosh. Ms. Jackie is doing
Yeah.
amazing. Her TikTok page is, I believe it's Jackie.Thompson. I think
I'm
it's
gonna
like
find it.
74. I think
Okay.
that's what it is. I could be wrong. Oh
Jackie
no,
got
I think it's Jackie.Thompson 47. I think that's what it is.
okay.
She's on TikTok. But and then I know they have a website for Kendrick Johnson. It's Kendrick Johnson17.org, I believe is his
Mm-hmm.
website. So you can certainly find out more information about both of them there on their social medias. And Miss C. Jones, please tell the audience where they can find out more information about you.
Yes, absolutely. So you can come over rather to my IG page. That is, let me get it right, C Jones _84, and that's the IG page for the podcast. If you're interested in my career curriculum that I've designed, I have designed a career curriculum for youth ages 16 to 25. You can go over to @YourInfiniteDirection and see about my resume writing fundamentals courses and other Infinite Dreamers programs that is available to your youth.
I love that. I want to thank you so much for being my very special guest on this truly dynamic case. And I want to welcome you back anytime you have time for us here at Criminal Justice Corner. Thank you so much for that.
I would love to. We're going to talk about a new case, maybe some celebrity news.
Honey, you know I'm always down for any of that. And I want to thank everyone else for listening to Criminal Justice Corner. Please tell a friend to tell a friend, like, subscribe, and share Criminal Justice Corner with all of your friends and family. You can catch us every week on YouTube. We are also available on Spotify, Amazon Music, and please make sure you're liking this video as well. And we'll see you next time on Criminal Justice Corner. Thank you.